Welcome to this episode of Three Peas in a Pod, Purpose, Pathways, and Perspectives. I'm Lenore, your host, and I say quite a bit in this episode about my guest when I start. So I want to just quickly say, you're going to want to know this link. If you like providing opportunity to people or learning more how you can do anything like what my guest does, the Lime Foundation, LIME.org. They seek to harness each individual's potential by providing vital skills in music, the performing arts, construction, technology, and health. Yeah, she does all that. So, hope you enjoy today's episode with Letitia Hanke. And remember to subscribe to this podcast, rate this podcast, and thanks for listening. I have a amazing guest on this podcast episode today. This is someone that I saw first off on an episode of Returning the Favor. Mike Rowe and his crew were doing a show with you, and I thought, who is this woman? She's amazing that she does so much. Welcome, Letitia Hanke.
Yay! Hi. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more about your background, what you're doing, and for the sake of our audience, again, you're in California.
Yes, I am.
You are the president and CEO of ARS Roofing, Gutter, and Solar.
Yes.
And you run a foundation with
Yes.
about 3 amazing focuses. And I'll let you share what some of those things are. And we'll start with your background, but I'm serious. I do a fraction of what you do within a company as I run a program that helps youth and veterans gain opportunity. I know how opportunity is a life changer,
Yes.
game changer, especially if you've just not had people around you to provide an example and open doors and take a shot with you to give you a chance. People's potential is truly amazing. And you're the one who gets it, that somebody's got to help provide it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. And you're
That's
doing
right.
so much. So what's a little bit about your background and how you got into being the CEO of a company and starting a foundation?
Oh my goodness. So I was in college. I'm a musician. So I was actually in school for music and recording arts. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. I was going to school for that, but I was, like any musician, very broke. And I needed a good paying job to get me through. I was putting myself through college. I'm just like, let me just try to find one really good paying job. And I was about 19 when I started looking. I turned 20 and found this job just being a receptionist at a roofing company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, why not? So I applied for the company, got the job, and I started working there as a receptionist. And just over the years, built up. I went from receptionist to the office manager to the manager of the company. And after about 4 years, my boss is like, listen, I want to retire. When I retire, I'd like for you to buy my company. And I'm just like, I'm not a roofer. Like, how am I going to do that? I can run a roofing company, but I'm not a roofer. He said, don't worry about that. I'll teach you. Are you willing? And I said, okay. I mean, I was 20 something. I was like,
yeah.
24. I'm like, sure. Like, why not? And it was actually a really fun experience for me. I really enjoyed it. So it took another 4 years for me to actually train properly. And once I actually was able to roof, then I was able to get my own contractor's license. So my boss actually retired, and then I started my own company and hired about 11 of his employees at that time. And that was in 2004. So I just celebrated my 25th anniversary in the industry. So it's just crazy how time has gone by, but that's really how it started. I just said yes.
That's a big lesson right there, saying yes when opportunities come. But that's very different from probably the music interest you had. Yet you're still staying connected to that. But that's quite a different shift. And yet people are loaded with quite varied talents as well.
Yeah, when I'm talking to young people, I'm just like, whatever you may think you're going to do in life and you think that's the pathway, it might take a shift over to something. They're like, well, how did you go from being a musician to a roofer, But it was just about opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
it was my opportunity to do the things that I knew I wanted to do in life. I knew I wanted to be a business owner. And I hadn't decided what business I was going to start. And I had this chance to start a roofing company. So I'm like, okay. Let's do it.
No kidding. But to have someone come to you at 24 and say, hey, I want to retire. You want to buy my business? That tells me a few things. You stood out, obviously, as someone with a load of potential and someone who obviously worked very hard.
Yes, I did. I worked really hard. I mean, I dropped out of college in my senior year because I got promoted to office manager, and I was working 60 to 80 hours a week to manage this company and build that company up for someone else. It wasn't even for myself, it was for someone
Ah,
else. And yeah, my boss saw that, and he just saw the relationships that I was building, and he knew right away. He's like, okay, this is someone who has potential to own their own business. And then he asked, and I said, okay. And so yeah, every day I think, and I think about it often, like, what if I said, I don't really, that's not what I want to do. I just decided to just give it a shot. I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. I had dropped out of college, so I'm like, hey, might as well do this.
that's amazing. That's a big lesson for people to say yes to opportunity. You don't know where it can take you. If it's certainly within the scope of something you had an interest in, and now you're able to actually give back besides bringing people into your business. I want you to share a little bit about that in your foundation, but the piece that you're doing with music still and touching that. So I'm curious of the name too, Lime Foundation, and when you started that because you're already running a business.
Yeah. So I was running this company, right? And owning this company, and we started being more and more successful. And I've always been one to give back. I love just helping others. So I started this little thing. So my son, when he was younger, his elementary school would always send us notices home saying, hey, if you could donate paper towels and pencils and paper. And I'm just like, aren't schools supposed to have that stuff? So I started this little thing called Give Back to Save Our Schools, where I would donate 1% of, my net profit of a job to the school of my client's choice. It just started off just that little thing, and
Mhm.
it ended up being really great. And then I'm just like, well, what can I do on a bigger scale to help our young people in our schools? And then that's when kind of I started thinking about the Lime Foundation, my nonprofit. I'm like, well, how do what can I do? What are all the great things I can do? And I had a great mentor that helped me just think about all the things that are important to my life. And that's how the Lime Foundation started. 2015 is when I actually got my 501c3 status, but the
Mhm.
planning, it started in 2013. So it took me a good couple years to really like get together what I really wanted to do. And then I was finally able to implement it in 2015.
Wow, and now you give it like 5%, right?
Yeah, so now we donate up to 5%. So it's every job is a different amount. So it's up to five. And it's great because that helps have that private money come in for the nonprofit so that that money keeps it going. And then I have other contractors that also donate to it as well because, they're able to get the write-offs and support the program. So it's been great.
What a great way for business to give back, and what a great way to attract customers, another reason to attract
Yes.
customers.
Our customers love that part of it. Every contract I send out, we have a little blurb about, the nonprofit. So that way they know they're not just hiring some roofer to do their roof, but they're actually giving back to save, and I have to say this, save some young people's lives and to really change their lives. So it's so much more than just getting a new roof. And my clients really love that part of it. They love that they're able to give back in that way.
I appreciate you saying that because it truly does change someone's life. It can save their life. It's that real. I know if you don't really know the work of what opportunity does, when you're actually just giving someone a shot and opening a door for them out of whatever they've had, an opportunity to something better literally does change lives.
Literally. Some of the young people that we work with, they've come from like foster care, they've been adopted or broken homes. Maybe they got in some trouble and like are changing their lives and stuff like that. So we're literally like scooping them up in this, situation that they're in and saying, hey, there is a better way. You're smart. You can do this. You've got someone here on your side. And that's literally all they've been waiting to hear. Their entire
Mhm.
lives is to say, hey, you're awesome. And that's what we're doing with a lot of these youth that we're working with that are disadvantaged youth.
And so you have opportunity for some of them to intern with you, correct?
They don't even intern anymore. They're literally just getting hired. So in one of our programs with this, which is the Next Gen Trades Academy, they go through our program, they learn about different trades that they can get into for a career. And then literally when they graduate from our program, they're getting hired full time by local contractors. So we thought it was just going to be like an internship or apprenticeship, but the contractors just said, no, we want to hire them.
Wow. Now, where is your program? Because I know that's not a small thing. It encompasses a lot. So do you do that on a site? Do you do that within a school? How do you do that?
So one of our programs is at a high school in Roanoke Park. So we're in Sonoma County right now. So we bring the program to the high school, but right now due to COVID, we've been doing it all on Zoom, which
Mm-hmm.
we've had the exact same results from doing them in person and Zoom. They're still getting hired. And then other locations or there's other programs that are like continuation programs or GED programs where people that dropped out of high school and things, we bring the program to them. They have the students, we have the actual program, and then we do a partnership with different locations around our county, and we're expanding to other areas as well. We're in talks with about 2 different counties to bring the program to other locations, and we're really excited about it.
I love that. How long is the program? What are some of the topics you cover?
So in our Zoom program, we condensed it down to 3 weeks because Zoom, like there's only so much to be.
You can
But
do.
when we do it in person, it's a 10-week course, and the 10-week course is 2 days a week for 2 hours a day. And we cover 17 different trades. So that's roofing and solar and painting and plumbing. And we bring in local contractors to pretty much tell their stories of how they started off like me, right? I started off as a musician and became a roofer. And they get to tell their stories and how they can actually move up in a company and how much money they'll start making starting off and how long it takes for them to move up to journeyman. We just kind of tell them how they can actually start this career and move up in a company. And that's really all we do. It's an education class. And we get them excited about having a great opportunity for them, because some of these young people are just like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And now they find a direction. So it's been a really fun experience.
No kidding. Is there a particular criteria of how you when you bring them in of because obviously young people, it's knowing, hey, this is a hard work job. It's showing up. It's your attitude. It's all these different things. How do
Right.
you address people coming into the program?
Well, their ages 16 and 24. So that's really kind of the only criteria that we need. And also we want them to have either graduated or about to graduate, or they have their GEDs, or they've finished their education. That's really the only requirement. And part of the class is not just learning about trades. We want it to be really well-rounded. So
Mhm.
we talk to them about financial literacy. You know how important that is, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
you're going from making $14 an hour or $15 an hour to making 25. Well, we want to teach them at a young age how to put that money away and have financial stability later, how not to have bad credit. Oh, let's raise our hand on that one.
Yep.
Have really bad credit because I got into debt really early on at an early age. Even with student loans from my college, I was in
Mhm.
debt at 17, 18 years old. And then we're teaching them better health, how to talk, how to have good, talking skills when they're interviewing. So we really put all of that into the program, and now they're learning all these different skills when they graduate from the program, and they're ready to rock and roll and interview with these contractors and get that job. So it's just been a great experience.
It's just fantastic because I know it's exactly what's needed everywhere. It
Yes.
really is. Have other people done what you've done, or have they heard more about it yet? Or I know you got a lot to just running it, but you've got some more interest of expanding it in your own area. But what about others? Because trust me, I know the need.
Yeah, there's a big need. I mean, it's huge. I was used to think that it was just here in California until
Yeah.
that Mike Rose show that you mentioned. When that Mike Rose show went out across America, it's crazy when I say that.
Yeah.
We started getting calls from Colorado and New Jersey and Washington and Georgia, and like all these different people and teachers saying, hey, we need this program here. How do we get that program here? And that's when I realized that I'm like, oh, this exists everywhere.
It needs to be happen
Yeah,
everywhere.
we put together a model so that way now, if someone wants to have this program at their area, now they can have that program there and be able to just duplicate what we're already doing. So it's very nice to know that. Well, it's sad to know that it's so desperate. This workforce thing is really bad everywhere, but it's great to know that there's a solution for it. And people can start their own programs, but why do all that extra hard work when there's something already ready to go?
Yeah. Well, and in my opinion, because I work inside of a company, I mean, this is a personal podcast. It's not a company podcast, but I do work inside of a company that offers opportunity. It started by an executive who started as a teenager. Someone gave him a shot. Now he's a senior executive at a Fortune 500 company. And we have quite a few stories like that. And yet doing this program, sometimes the toughest part is if you want to open the door, where do you find these young people? Because it, sometimes the way I've said it is companies run at a fast pace. They got a lot to do. And how do you make sure you're keeping your talent pipeline strong or keeping opportunity open, getting these great kids that don't know about you involved and recognize that you're even an option for them. So many
That's right.
times I think young people are asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like me, I would go, I don't know. I didn't even know what was possible. And now there's more options possible than ever. There's no way young people could have a clue what's even possible for them to do. So I think a lot of companies actually want to do this, in my opinion. They need an easy entry point to be able to do it. So what you're doing in providing some preparedness and a way to connect, and I do know some organizations that do it, but I saw yours and went, I want to talk to her because she's doing exactly what I know is needed everywhere. And we
Yes.
know the trades need skilled people and
Oh
great
my
talent.
gosh. Yeah. Trades is definitely at a really critical point because we've had this gap for such a long time. And
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I hate saying this, but I just have to say it because it's just the truth. When we ask our students, and I ask this question every single class, because of the stigma of construction, and what people think construction is about, I asked them, I'm just like, hey, what is the first thing you guys think of when you think about a plumber? What's the first thing that comes to mind? I'm sure you're thinking the same thing right now, Lenora. Is the plumber's crack. I'm saying it. Plumber's crack. First thing that comes to there's a student every class that raises their hand and says plumber's crack. And it's because that's what they see. That's what they've learned, that's what it's about. Do they know those plumbers are making $200,000 a year and they own multiple homes? And like, they don't realize that plumber is in business for himself. He's independent, or she. I know a female plumber as well. She's running this great franchise, Mr. Rooter, business, and they don't know it. And it's just because we need to teach these young people a different mindset about construction. If I could be a roofer, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that they could be and do, and they just simply don't know.
They don't. How can you know?
to get it out, get the word out there. And we can do it. We have the responsibility of, letting these young people know and letting them know about these different opportunities. College isn't for everybody. It's just not. I
Right.
enjoyed it. I had a great 4 years, 3.5, I guess I would say. You know, I had a great time in college. I learned a lot of people skills, a lot of things, but at the same time, I got into a lot of debt, and I regret that part of it. So I just think that there's other opportunities for these young people, and we need to teach them that. So
Yeah. And I actually didn't go to college. It's just not something my family talked about. And then I had some friends that went, but I didn't have enough knowledge, enough even seeds deposited in me to really have come to that being a true desire. I was good in school because that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah,
Thankfully, I just did stuff because I was supposed to. I didn't have a real vision. So I just started doing different jobs, and then opportunities will come when you work hard, and it's led to all kinds of stuff that I couldn't have made up. And I
that's
have
right.
people that assume I have a degree, and I've had some pretty cool people ask me, to do little interview pieces on the topic of this because of what I do, and they have way more education than I do, but I understand the practical need. I've seen it. Thank God I've been given an opportunity to support it, and it's helped me just really see the gap.
Yep.
Go, there's no way young people are going to know. Like I didn't know when they said, "What do you want to do?" I don't know because I'd only seen a few. Maybe there's 10 things or 12 that you thought of that you saw on a TV program or that your parents did. That's your exposure. How else would you know?
That's correct.
We could preach to each other all day. Yet this type of thing you're doing is fantastic. Schools want it.
Yes.
I think businesses want it. It just needs to be a nice on ramp between the two. The young people need it because I think for a young person too, especially if they don't have necessarily family support to just have that stable, good future, then they have enough challenges going on. And if they don't get a why for why am I learning something? What are the potential? Where can I put this? And why would I want to invest it? Then why are they engaged?
That's
They
right.
also need to see a vision. They need to have a sense of what's possible for them and why it's so valuable to invest in it. Because like you said, these careers, people don't realize how profitable many of these jobs are that are out there. And sometimes our sectors, they want the talent, but they aren't the best at advertising themselves.
That's true.
Like, well, nobody knows you're there. So that's why you have no talent.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, like for us as a contractor, like we have to be ready and prepared to also train these young people because it takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. So
Yeah.
that is the buy-in that I usually have to get from my contractors. Is like, okay, this person's never picked up a hammer, right? But they've learned So far, we've been doing this program 4 years now. Our contractors, we keep getting so many contractors because they're seeing these young people. They're like, well, how'd you get this job? Oh, I went through the Next Gen Trades Academy, and now they're running their own crew after 2 years.
Mm.
I mean, we have a couple of our students. I had a student that got a $300,000 scholarship to college, full ride. Full ride. He took our program through his senior year 2 years ago, and we had a speaker come in. A solar company came in, started talking about solar, and he's like, I want to go into solar. And he declined the scholarship so it could go to the next student, went and started working for this solar company. This is 2 years ago. He started off at $17 an hour, and now he makes $27 an hour after only 2 years, and he's running his own crew.
Wow.
You don't get that. You don't, even if you go to college for 4 years and, and graduate, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get that job that you just went to 4 years of college for, or sometimes 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed. What kind of industry can you literally know nothing at all, and next thing you know, you're already 2 years into it with benefits and $26 an hour and this and that. So it's just beautiful to know that we've got that type of opportunity. The key now is just to get the word out there, and let people know there are other options. There really are.
Absolutely. Are you finding that some of the people who've hired these young people are finding that they're also quite loyal for the opportunity? Or do they stick around? Is the retention any better? Do you think?
That's a good question. Well, right now, yes, I personally have hired four of my graduates. And one came with me. He trained with us for 2 years, did really good. He actually came to me and we had lunch and we talked about it. He's like, I want to work for, this other company that I've been really wanting to work for most of my life. And I said, well, let's get you that job. And he went and applied and he got that job. And now he's been there a year and a half running his own crew. I'm thankful and grateful every day that he just wanted to grow. He wanted to see
Mhm.
himself at another level that at that time I wasn't able to provide for him. I will never fault that. That's not a bad thing, and I'm
Right.
grateful every day that he came to me and told me. So then I'm like, okay, here are the steps, go make it happen. But yeah, a lot of our other contractors are knowing that when they're training them at a young age, they're learning the way they want them to learn. They're teaching them, the right habits. And I think what it's doing for our young people is getting them to say, hey, I can do this one day. I can be my own boss one day if I just stick with it. And we talk about that a lot in our class about entrepreneurship, but also sticking with it, stick with it, learn that skill, because either you can go work for a bigger company one day if you want to, or even start your own business, or even move up in that company that you're at. So they're at all different levels, actually. So
Yeah. And then if you were to give a piece of business advice to a business owner that's saying, okay, they may not decide to start a foundation or do what you're doing, but still, what can they do to connect with talent like this? I realize you won't have a perfect answer, but advice for what's an approach? How do you do something like this and give people opportunity?
yeah, it's a good question. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I know in my field or in construction is that you have to be willing to train. One of the things that we didn't do, or early on, we're just like, oh, we want to hire seasoned people. They already know everything. But the problem with that is that seasoned people that's been in the industry, they come in, they think they know everything, that you can't tell them, anything at all. And that ends up not being a good thing. So contractors weren't willing to hire, we call green people, that no experience. They weren't willing to do the training and spend the money for it. But now my advice is that if you realize that with a little bit of training and guidance, you can find that employee that you want by training someone who's brand new in the industry, and you can teach them the way you want them to be taught and move them up in the company. And at the same time, move other people in your company up as well and empower them. And that's just what I have seen to be one of the biggest things for all of our contractors that have, been a part of the program, is that they're like, okay, that makes sense and it's working. So that's my only advice that I have right now, anyway.
Yeah, you have to be willing to do that little mentoring piece, take a shot, put a little more elbow grease into it, sometimes a coaching, but it's certainly very incredibly rewarding. That's one thing we've had with our employees inside that have done these internships. It's a totally different business. We actually go do global logistics, but it's pretty much these office positions and there's a lot of details. But when they do it and they're helping coach somebody, It's very rewarding. You want employee engagement on the job? This is one way to get it. Those that love it, love it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It inspires everyone around them because 'cause they're like, "Wow," and they all just get involved in it's I've heard a whole location say, "Wow, it's just lit up our whole team doing this." Now, what would you say 'cause to young people that, they're thinking, "Hey, I wanna do something like this," but maybe there's not a you in their community or a program exactly like it?
Most likely there is, a lot of them just don't know how to find it or where to look for it. So they got to do some research to see if there's something available and reach out to those locations. Some of the colleges even are doing construction trainings now. We have a local college that started a roofing. I didn't have roofing school when I was learning how to roof. So they just don't know to actually look and do the research, and if they do that, they'll probably find a program in their area. They can also get in touch with us because we are expanding the program, so we always want to start getting people recognizing that we can have the program in their areas. And young people, I just tell you right now, this is your opportunity to just do something out of the box. I mean, if you're that person that just wants to try something new and give it a shot, you never know. You might end up loving it and enjoying it. One of the great fun things about roofing is being outdoors. You're doing something different every time, and then you have that satisfaction at the end of it all. When you saw that terrible roof before and then you finish it and you get to see something amazing that you did. There's no better satisfaction than that, and knowing that you helped put a roof over a family's head. You just can't. Or building homes. I mean, we're in the area, a high fire zone. We've had fires come through here and burn down, most of the city. And we're rebuilding. And most of the
Mm,
young people that are getting hired in this area, they're building homes. They're part of rebuilding a house for a family to come back and move back into their home that they lost. That is so gratifying, every day to think that you made that happen for somebody. So those are some of the things that I think I could say to someone who's young and not really sure what they want to do in life is say, try construction, give it a shot.
yeah, and I found that anytime you've really invested yourself into something, even if you do something slightly different in the future, it's paid off as you build any type of career. Just the weirdest things can help each other you become better at and gain new opportunities because you have no idea how all this stuff can fit. It's crazy sometimes. Couldn't have made some of my journey up.
I think back, just like what you just said, I think back to when I was, 15 and 16 years old, when I was in school. I realized I've always been an entrepreneur. I used to make earrings for my friends. I also braid hair. I braid my own hair. And so I used to have my friends, they want me to braid hair. And one of the other things I did, and I'm going to kind of date myself on this one. If you guys remember MC Hammer, MC Hammer had these baggy pants that super baggy, just a bunch of fabric. And it was the fad. All the kids loved it. And I was making money sewing MC Hammer pants for kids when I was 15 and stuff. I'm like $15 and you just bring me the material. And I just realized that I've always been an entrepreneur. I just didn't realize that it would lead me to this. So this one little thing that I, knew about myself as a young age, I didn't even realize it until, I was older. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I was meant to start a business. It just happened to be roofing.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. You say yes, invest in yourself, get around good people, and it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah.
How would somebody contact you or connect with you to either is your program something they can download when you say it's something that's available?
Yeah. So on our website, which is the limefoundation.org, and lime is like lemon lime, Lime. That's my son's name spelled backwards. My son's name
Oh,
is Emil. That's a whole nother story. But on the website, we actually have so much information there that's very helpful. We have videos from students. You can hear testimonials from students. You can talk to the contractors. And then it has all my contact information on there to contact us to get more information about how we can go into your area. It talks more about the Trades Academy and two of our other programs as well. It just really has a wealth of information there. And that's the best way to start. So that way you can just kind of know a little bit about what we're doing, and then we'll make contact with you once you send us a message.
thank you. Want to wrap up with how just a little bit, a few comments on what you do on the music piece, because that was a love early on. Seems pretty special. So say a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, the music piece. Wow. So we were from the Bay Area, Berkeley, and my parents moved me and my brother when we were really young, about 5 years old, up to a very, very, very small town in Lake County. And unfortunately, there weren't very many Black kids up in that area. So I was severely bullied and teased, and I'd get spit on or called N-word every day.
Oh,
And
geez.
I was just a really depressed little kid. And when I was about 7 years old, one of my teachers, who just noticed that I was an unhappy kid, she put a trumpet in my hands and taught me how to play the trumpet at the lunchtime, so that way I wouldn't get bullied on the playground. And I fell in love with music. It just, the way it made me feel, it got me through all those rough times. And I just started playing and was playing in the high school band at 8 years old. And I had that love and passion for music. And that's how I ended up going to college, for music. But when my son, he also went through some bullying too. He's multiracial, and his name is Emil. And he too that's when I first started telling him the story about when I was bullied. And that's why I called it the Lime Foundation, because they called him Lime and they picked on him and called him different names. And I just wanted to make sure that if I was going to pull this all together and have this nonprofit and work really hard for it, and I needed to be something close to my heart. So what more than my kid, right? So that's why it's called the Lime Foundation. And it really started off with my music program that we did called Turner Arts. Turner is my maiden name, Lenora. And, and I wanted to be able to have an arts program for our youth that are experiencing bullying, and they have problems with body image and just not really enjoying and loving themselves like I was. I was really struggling with that. And music and performing arts is what really helped me get out of that, negative space. So that's how it really started. It started off wanting to be the Turner Arts, and then, the Trades Academy came in, and so it just kind of flourished from there. So
Wow. Well, you're amazing. You and I want to say too, thank you for sharing that. I hate that you went through that. I just really do. I just do. So I want you to know I'm very sorry you ever went that and that your son went through that.
thank you so
And you're amazing. You're doing this work. It is beautiful work. It is absolutely life-changing. And I can't thank you enough for putting in the effort. Because again, I have a glimpse of how many different parts and pieces you are managing. So it's amazing. I got to figure more words to say.
I have really good help. Yes, I had the ideas and stuff, but really I have this team around me that is just, besides my roofing team, but also my Lime Foundation team, I'm really surrounded by the most amazing people that have helped me make my dreams come true. And they know my passion. They're just as passionate about it as well. And that's really how we've been able to accomplish everything. So I really give a lot of credit to the people around me that's really helped me live my dreams. So it's been a great experience, and I really love it.
Yeah. And your dream is making other people's dreams come true. That is pretty darn cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything you want to share that I missed? I know we're wrapping this up, but I thought, no, I want to give you that opportunity, something that you'd want to share.
One bit of advice I give to people and let them know is take that chance. I keep thinking back, if I hadn't said yes to my boss all those years ago to try this and give this an opportunity, I wouldn't have changed the lives that I have, the people that I have encountered, and the stories that have been told of just a little bit of, kindness. It wouldn't have happened. And if I hadn't just said yes and taken that risk and taken that chance, and sometimes you just don't know what can come out of something that you're not expecting. And I wasn't expecting this when I was 20 something years old. So I just say that give it a shot and don't be afraid to just follow your dreams, number one, but just take that little chance and don't be afraid of failure and stay positive and have that passion. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. And I can just, from here on out, just repeat thank you and how cool you are. Thank you for building a team, for doing the work, helping other people do this, because it does need to happen all over the place. I get to deal with it in the other countries as well. And it's a bullseye thing to do, a bullseye target, a bullseye effort that's going to pay in so many different directions. And it truly is needed everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So thank you again for taking the time being on this episode. It was fantastic to meet you. When I saw you, I went, oh, I want to meet her. She's so cool.
Thank you so much. I've had a great time.
So did I say amazing enough times on that episode? Even though she really is amazing. But again, if you want to contact Letitia, go to thelimefoundation.org. Her link will be in the podcast notes. And I do simply have to mention, because of where I first met her, and this episode happens to come out at the very end of the scholarship process. If you're looking to get into the trades, you can go to Mike Rowe Works Foundation and apply for a scholarship. This episode comes out when there's what, 8 days or something left to even do that. So if you want to do that at all, jump on it. Have your child jump on it if they're looking to get into the trades. Amazing jobs out there. And of course, if you're in California, you absolutely want to connect with Letitia about her program and anywhere about her foundation. Thanks for listening. Take good care of you.